Wolverine Origins had to suck for Deadpool and Logan and Deadpool and Wolverine to even exist. There's people that have died, Adrian, have only seen Deadpool as that shitty version in X-Men Origins.
This is true.
Imagine going to the grave with that.
Wow.
I'd come back and haunt someone. That's why I go.
Come back as Beetlejuice.
I would. That would cause me to come back as Beetlejuice. We had X-Men, the animated series. 20th Century Fox were so impressed with that show's success that they bought the rights to X-Men in 1994. They start working on a movie. Years later, several shitty scripts later, because nothing gets made. Finally, in the year 2000, they have a movie, the first X-Men movie. That same year, Artisan Entertainment, they announced a deal with Marvel to produce several Marvel films, including a Deadpool film. So back in 2000, they had already planned on a Deadpool movie. On a $75 million budget, the first X-Men movie did $296 million at the box office, was well received critically, and then Fox ordered a sequel right away. In 2003, the X2 movie came out, right? Okay. That movie did well. In 2004, there was a comic, Cable and Deadpool, okay? Deadpool referred to himself as looking like Ryan Reynolds crossed with a Shar-Pei. So this is before Ryan Reynolds was ever attached to the role. That caught the attention of Ryan Reynolds. He was interested in the character. That same year, David S. Goyer, the writer of the Blade series, and Ryan Reynolds start working on a Deadpool movie for New Line Cinema. And that never sees the light of day because of some rights issues, which I guess Deadpool technically was part of the X-Men universe, so they couldn't make this movie. You know, Fox owns X-Men. They're like, no, you can't make it. It's our character.
Right.
Around that same time, X-Men Origins Wolverine's greenlit because they did the first two X-Men movies, Wolverine's popular character. Fox wants a Wolverine movie. Fox also tells Ryan Reynolds that they're interested in a Deadpool movie around that time. So this is 2004, 2005. They say that Deadpool will have a cameo in the X-Men movie. In production, they expanded Deadpool's role because of how well Ryan Reynolds did. But then we saw what they did. And I said this last week, like, I'd be impressed if they fuck up Wolverine and Deadpool, but they already fucked it up once.
Right.
That's kind of impressive that you took two characters that cool and screwed it up that bad. You know what I mean?
That's a skill set.
It's a skill set to be that bad. This movie is released in 2009, 158 million opening week, big opening week, but it topped out at 373 worldwide, so it didn't do much after that first week. That was on a $150 million budget, so I bet they barely broke even. But because of how big that first week was, Fox started working on a rated R Deadpool movie. 2 years later, Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern film comes out, which that movie did so bad that Fox, at that point, started to rethink coming out with a Deadpool movie. They kind of put the brakes. They had some discussions about making Deadpool PG-13. After meeting with the writer and director, they realized that wasn't going to work because of who the character was. So instead of greenlighting the movie, they gave the director $100,000 or so, low six figures, to create some test footage to see how that looked first, right? So this was that highway scene. I don't know if you remember, but that was leaked. There was a highway scene where Deadpool drops into the...
When he was sitting up there waiting for the...
Yes.
Okay, yep.
So they created that with straight CGI. Ryan Reynolds voiced the character. And in 2012, that was done. They showed it to Fox. They weren't impressed enough to move forward, so they put it on the back burner. So at that point, they weren't going to make this movie.
Wow.
Then, July of 2014, somehow, Adrian, this test footage leaked online. I wonder, now people, there's a little conspiracy theory here. They say that someone at Fox leaked it.
Of course.
Maybe it was Ryan Reynolds.
Maybe.
I mean, if he did, hey, good for him. This leak, I remember when this leaked, and it was all over like Facebook and social media at the time, and dude, everybody loved it. We're losing our, because they're like, this is cool as shit. Like, this was around the times of the Avengers, so you had like, actually it was 2 years later, so we're used to like this, you know, PG-13, it was cool, but this was like the adult shit that we're used to in the comics, right? So that thing blew up, and then 2 months later, this is some shit, July of 2014, this is 2 years after Fox said no, test footage is dropped, everybody loves it. September of 2014, they set a 2016 release date for Deadpool. They give them the go-ahead because of how well the test footage did. They greenlit the movie. Deadpool was a major success, released in 2016, did $783 at the box office on a $58 million budget. All while this is going on, you know, Hugh Jackman's playing Wolverine like every other year in different X-Men movies. And I mean, he's everywhere, right?
When you say it like that, it's just comical. It's like, what's his face, like showing up as a shrub or something like, what's his name? The comedian?
Oh,
the little one,
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
It's like Kevin Hart showing up everywhere. It's like it's in that vein. But anyway,
it was. I mean, dude, even in like the shitty ones, he's in there for like X-Men Apocalypse.
Right.
The best scene is when they run into Weapon X and he's got the actual Weapon X shit on and he kills all the damn soldiers.
Right.
Then in 2017, Logan comes out. He retires. He's getting older. The villain was a little underwhelming. They had the X-24, the Wolverine clone. And you know what's sad is there was a rumor that Sabretooth, Liv Schreiber's Sabretooth, was supposed to kind of play that role, which I think would have made that movie perfect, you know? So anyways, besides the point. But that movie came out. Hugh Jackman's Logan, this thing does $619 at the box office on a $97 million budget. Logan dies at the end, perfect send-off. We think Hugh Jackman's done, right? We kind of accepted. Like, were you cool with that? Like, we seen enough, it's cool. Like, I think that, you know, and Logan being probably the best Wolverine, not probably, definitely the best Wolverine movie, but probably his best appearance.
Right.
So it was a cool send-off. And Deadpool 2 comes out in 2018. So, you know, Deadpool 1 did great. They greenlit a sequel. This movie does $785 on a $110 million budget. There's a post-credit scene where Deadpool goes back in time to kill the Deadpool from X-Men Origins, right? That was great. And he also kills, so all this is connected. He also kills the Ryan Reynolds with the Green Lantern script in his hand. I'm sure DC loved that.
Right.
That same year, Ryan Reynolds announces that they're going to do an X-Force film. Because remember, X-Force was featured in that movie. So X-Force film was announced. Deadpool 3 was announced. Fast forward, 2019, Disney buys Fox. They cancel all X-Men movies that are in development, including X-Force and Deadpool 3. They did say at this point that they were going to bring Deadpool into the MCU and they were going to keep him rated R, but they canceled all the stuff that was planned, okay? So for a while, we had no idea what was going to happen. Since they bought X-Men, we've not seen any X-Men movies yet. We saw Beast show up in the Marvels at the end, and they had confirmed that Ms. Marvel is a mutant, and so is Namor. So we see a little bit of it sprinkled in there. And then also in She-Hulk, there's a news clipping that says man in bar with, like, claws or whatever gets into a fight. So at this point, there's a Wolverine in the MCU somewhere. Right. So all these things are happening. So a few years later, prior to a meeting with Kevin Feige to discuss ideas for Deadpool 3, shortly after giving up asking Hugh Jackman daily to come out of retirement, because there was a point in time where Ryan Reynolds was calling him every day. So Ryan does this for an extended period of time, and then right around the time he stops, Kevin Feige calls him in for a meeting. They're going to discuss ideas about Deadpool 3, and Ryan had said they were pretty much at a loss for what are we going to do with Deadpool 3. Literally, like, days before he goes to meet with Feige, Hugh Jackman calls him and is like, I'll do it. I'll come out of retirement. So then he goes to Feige, like, hey, he was going to come out of retirement. Let's do this. And so all those things being lined up and hitting the way they did, that's why we got Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wow.
There you have it. I just brought you up like 20 years like that, dude.
That's a complex backstory, dude.
Right?
There's a lot. You got to imagine all the pieces that had to be moved in order for that to happen. That's a lot.
We needed X-Men animated series to be amazing to kick this whole thing off, right? We needed the X-Men movies to do what they did. If Deadpool wasn't so poorly received in X-Men Origins, they would have continued with that version of Deadpool, and we never would have got this one. It's almost like Wolverine Origins had to suck for Deadpool and Logan and Deadpool and Wolverine to even exist.
It's the way it happens sometimes.
It's the way it happens, dude.
All right, hey.
It's like I don't understand it all. That's how the multiverse works. So
well, we're benefiting now.
We are. Years later.
Years later.
So I guess patience is a virtue.
I guess.
Or just hope you're around long enough to see it, you know, because I mean, there's people that have died, Adrian, have only seen Deadpool as that shitty version in X-Men Origins.
This is true.
Imagine going to the grave with that.
Wow.
I'd come back and haunt someone. That's why I go.
Come back as Beetlejuice?
I would. That would cause me to come back as Beetlejuice. So there you have it. The road to Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm even more excited after going through that. I'm ready to go watch it right now.